Now, nobody likes an uninvited guest. Now just imagine you're looking out at a beautiful soybean field and you notice a random stalk. Oh no, you've got volunteer corn. And it can cause a mess for your land and your bottom line. Now a group of scientists from the University of Nebraska is finding a new way to keep plants you don't want out of your field. Market Journal's Brad Mills has the story.
Farmers are used to dealing with weeds in their fields, but when something like volunteer corn emerges, it can present a host of new issues.
So volunteer corn is a problem weed every year in soybean as well as in corn, because our cropping system in Nebraska is corn and soybean, at least in eastern part of the state.
That's right. It's not just restricted to cornfields and may compete with smaller crops for moisture, nutrients, and light. Additionally, it can attract pests and introduce diseases that could remain present into future growing years. Volunteer corn can appear as a result of storms, wind scattering, or when kernels are dropped or lost during the previous year's harvest. Some volunteer corn is also a product of chemical-resistant hybrid corn, which is found in many fields. So killing it like you would a regular weed isn't an option.
Volunteer corn is also coming from the hybrid corn, so it is also resistant to glyphosate or glufosinate, depending on which hybrid was planted last year. So basically, there is no selective herbicide that can selectively control volunteer corn but can be selective to hybrid corn.
But the researchers are hoping to change that and are conducting a project to test certain herbicides with a new corn variety.
So this project particularly is about using enlist corn, which is a new corn variety, came to the market this year. So that enlist corn is resistant to 2,4-D-choline, glyphosate, as well as a part of grass herbicide known as POPs. For example, this Azure 2 is the herbicide which is labeled you can apply in enlist corn. Means it's just a group of grass herbicides that is this enlist corn is tolerant to, and so you can use the another group of herbicide that can effectively control volunteer corn. And enlist corn will not be affected by this Azure 2 herbicide, but volunteer corn, it could be resistant to glyphosate as well as glufosinate. It will be killed by applying Azure 2 herbicide, which is fluazepop based herbicide.
If volunteer corn is a problem for you, it may be easier to eradicate if you have a soybean field that has been compromised.
So volunteer corn can emerge in any crop basically, but it's up to the field where that field was rotated with corn or soybean. In soybean, there are at least 5 or 6 good grass herbicides that you can use, and it can selectively control volunteer corn, and there will not be any injury on soybean. Because soybean is a broadleaf crop, and so there are some grass herbicides that can easily and effectively control volunteer corn.
As you gear up for next season, Dr. Jhala has some advice.
So for those growers, if they are planting enlist corn this year, I recommend to go for soybean next year, where you can still use dim type of grass herbicides. For example, Silac Max, Post. These are some herbicide options that you can still apply in soybean, and you can kill enlist volunteer corn.
Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Brad Mills.